According to an updated forecast of the International Monetary Fund, in 2013 the GDP growth in Kazakhstan will be 5%, and in 2014 it will slightly exceed this figure. Inflation in the country will be ranging between 6 and 8%. International analysts say that the situation in international markets may be a negative factor.
As for oil, the increase in oil production in the US and weak global demand put downward pressure on prices earlier in the year. Going forward, the forecasts based on futures prices suggest a gradual decline in oil and other commodity prices, but there's a great degree of uncertainty regarding these forecasts.
Experts of the International Monetary Fund noted that the growth in the near future will remain high, but there is still a risk of falling against the forecast. Recovery in the oil and gas production and other extractive industries will support the economic activity.
All the countries in the region are dynamic, competitive, emerging market countries. Kazakhstan already is an emerging market country, but it's very dependent on oil, and even it needs to take additional efforts to make sure that the non-oil economy is strong and will be able to carry the economy forward when the oil eventually is gone.
In order to improve the resilience to shocks, the countries of Central Asia need to take the advantage of existing conditions when increasing budgetary and financial buffer reserves. In this connection, an important non-oil fiscal balance, which is all about budget revenues excluding revenues for hydrocarbon exports, becomes important.
Kazakhstan is in a reasonably comfortable position here because its sustainable level of the non-oil deficit is around 9%, which is relatively close to the sustainable position, and here the budget aims to close the gap even further. But some other countries, in particular Azerbaijan, are currently spending quite a bit more than they can spend on a sustainable basis if they want to preserve the oil wealth for future generations.
The level of economic activity in Kazakhstan continues to rise rapidly by about 6% annually. Despite the slowing pace compared to the even faster growth during the decade preceding the financial crisis, Kazakhstan continues to be a rapidly developing country. Being a country integrated into the global space, Kazakhstan still depends on the economic situation in Europe and the USA. However, apart from that, there are also risks being within the country, which are mainly connected with the banking sector.
Overall, banks in the region appear well capitalized and liquid, but they suffer from poor asset quality and dollarization. Non-performing loans remain at a very high level in Kazakhstan and also pretty high in Tajikistan, and this makes it more difficult for banks to lend to new products.
The economic growth in Kazakhstan is still stable and is based upon hydrocarbon resources, steel industry and agriculture. It is assumed that these trends will continue in the coming years, despite the expected decline in commodity prices. In this case, the International Monetary Fund experts recommend all the countries importing oil and gas to expand their tax base, while reducing costs as well as some opportunities for increasing targeted social protection and investment in health, education and infrastructure. In addition, the countries importing oil and gas got advice from the IMF asking them to increase the flexibility of their exchange rate to reduce the risk of fluctuations in both output and prices.